Hi there, Rick here. It's just really watching an interesting video. Um, it's what is it? Um, the Valdez, um, the Valdez oil tanker spill. Okay, it's about a 14-minute video. Okay, I remember reading about this and hearing a lot about it on the news. Okay, um, and the title is "Watch a 53 million gallon tanker drift off course and rip itself open." Okay, um, I just feel that okay, there was a lot of things, okay, that could have been done a lot like done better. Okay, when you're going through some of the what is it, narrow channels, okay, that shouldn't be done at night. Okay, because from watching this video, okay, it was talking about okay how the people that were on the bridge, okay, responsible for the ship, going its proper course, okay, they're using binoculars, they're looking out, right? But they didn't know where the hell they were. Okay, some of the was it narration in the video, okay, was saying how okay this light, okay, was off a certain side, maybe starboard or port, right? But it was on the wrong side. Okay, um and throughout this entire time, okay, the people on the bridge, okay, in charge of which way the ship should be going, okay, they're looking at the radar, they're also using their binoculars, but still they don't know where they are. Okay, and then the ship, okay, was it one of the officers on the bridge, okay, he phones the captain just saying that there's an emergency. The ship is drifting off course. Okay, and they even haven't finished their conversation and the ship runs aground, it hits a reef. Okay, so the people on board the bridge, okay, they're looking out with their binoculars and looking at the radar, and they don't even know where they are, where they are situated in the channel. Okay, um, that's why the ship should be going out. Okay, sure. Some of the most dangerous you know areas, okay, in the channel where um an accident can occur. Okay, the captain is not even on the bridge. Okay, um and I noticed too, okay, their protocol is okay always to have two officers on the bridge. Okay, and during that time when the accident happened, okay, there was only one. Okay, um the reason why was because one of the officers that was helping load the ship, okay, he was sleeping. He was supposed to be woken up to get onto the bridge. Okay, but the person in charge felt that he was really tired. They decided to let him sleep. Okay, it was against company policy. Okay, but maybe waking up that extra person who was supposed to be on the bridge, having that extra you know officer on the bridge, okay, to help out, to navigate some of the most dangerous area, okay, in the channel. Okay, his different his presence on the bridge could have meant the difference between the ship not running aground, right? Um, Another was it some of the interesting stories that I read about it. Um, this was from one of the people that lived in the area. Okay, and they said, yeah, the oil spill was really bad, but it was a gold mine. Okay, because I heard that Exxon, okay, was renting out these people's fishing boats. okay, to clean up the oil spill. Okay, to tell you honest, I don't even think they used their boats. Um, I think they were just renting them out to um, make the people happy, okay, and keep them quiet, not to complain, okay, because they were paying them out hundreds of thousands of dollars. I read stories of how some of them was it um, they made as much as like five, 600, $700,000, okay, of renting out their boat, okay, um, and they also fixed up their boat for them too, which was amazing, okay, and then they gave it back to them afterwards, when uh, after when the oil spill was finished, cleaned up, okay, so you paid them out as much as what, maybe around $700,000, and then you fixed up their boat for them, okay, and then in the end, then you've given them their boat back too, okay, with all the improvements on it, okay. Um, so and then another thing too was when a major oil spill like this happened, um, they sprayed some sort of retardant on the oil, okay. This retardant, just can't recall the name of it. When they said it in the video, but it's supposed to help break down the oil that's on top of the water, and then the oil sinks to the bottom. That's what it does, okay. And planes would drop this, okay, but they also said in the narration that um, there wasn't enough wave action, so I guess the retardant didn't mix with the oil that well, okay, and it didn't sink to the bottom, okay. um, they were saying how this retardant, okay, just to work around it, okay, like the people that were working on the beaches, the men and women cleaning up the oil spill, okay, they were exposed to this retardant, okay, um, and it was known to cause liver problems, lung problems, just a lot of really serious health problems, okay, and uh these, like I say, these and what is it, blood problems too, um but sometimes too, what is it, um I think the company, they know that this retardant is quite harmful to people. It's almost like handling asbestos, and the company knows how dangerous it is, but they don't inform the workers working near it, okay, of the dangers of it to your health, right? So I don't know the amount of people that when they started to get older, they noticed they had kidney problems, problems, all these health problems from working around this retardant, because you have to remember they're on the beach, okay, all this retardant that was you know um kind of like dropped on the water, it's made it to the shore now, okay, and then they're using high pressure hoses. The water is splashing all over all over in the area. It's probably getting your eyes and your mouth a bit, right? Your ears. Um, and you're exposed to this retardant. Okay. It was just recently dropped onto the water. Okay. And the company, they know how like I say, they know how dangerous it is, and already the effects that it has on people, okay, yet they allow the workers working on the beaches be exposed to it, right? um I wonder whether or not they even, let the people on the beaches that were cleaning up the oil know that they dropped some sort of chemical retardant on the water to try to help, break up the oil. Because, this retardant, like I say, it came to shore, right? It's on the beach. And then these people cleaning up the oil, like I say, I've seen it in videos. They're using high pressure hoses, water splashing all over the place. Okay, they're, like I say, they're getting it in their eyes, in their mouth, right? Um, it's known to cause, blood problems, kidney problems, liver problems, right? Um, kind of feel sorry for these people that, got exposed to, those chemicals, because that chemical, because um, if they have serious health problems in the future, and then they start, complaining about it to the company, right? And what the big company Exxon's gonna do, right? They're just gonna turn a blind eye to it. They're gonna deny that. Well, how do you know that, you know that you working, okay, on the beach cleaning up the oil, um, that was the cause of your kidney failure, or your kidney problems, or your liver problems? How do we know that, that was the cause of your health problems in the future? Okay, and they do this. Okay, um, I'll go a little bit off topic here. Okay, um, I remember when my brother was in a car accident. Okay, it was quite a large collision car accident. Enough. Um, what was it? That it kind of like, it bent the frame a bit. Okay, and then the um the car repair shop, okay, said, "Oh, we have a machine, okay, it'll help straighten out the frame." Okay, and they put the vehicle on the machine. Okay, um, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's straightened out the frame. The car is still okay to be used, on the road. Okay, it's not a write off. Okay." Um, but then he noticed after driving it, okay, every month and a half, okay, the brake pads needed to be changed. I think on one side of the vehicle, okay, because it was wearing improperly, because the frame was not, straightened out properly, okay, and just the way the the vehicle was running now, okay, it was causing the brake pad on one side of the vehicle to be um excessively worn a lot faster. Okay. So he was complaining to ICBC about a month and a half later, saying, my vehicle was not fixed properly. I have to change out the brake pad every month and a half. And people who drive, okay, how expensive the brake pad is, right? Let alone, the labor just to do the work, okay, on the vehicle. And ICBC's uh you know kind of like statement was, well, how do we know that, the brake pad was, from the accident, right? How do we know that, um, this was from the accident? Well, and then he said, well, it's, it wasn't doing that before, right? Ever since the accident, now the brake pad is wearing unevenly. So how difficult it is to deal with some of these big companies, right? Because when something goes wrong, whether it be a month and a half later, or a year later, or 2 years later, right? Um, they just deny, right? They just say, well, how do we know this? How do we know that, right? you know. So, you see what I'm trying to say here, right? And, maybe you had a situation like this, or you know somebody who had a situation like this, right? Um, it's just, um, what is it? Um, just very very difficult sometimes. Just the other day, okay, okay, I'm going a little bit off topic again, okay. I was just doing an interview. I was talking to this one worker. He was working for this big vinyl window company, and yeah, he injured himself, okay, and then he was trying to deal with ICBC, and they just wouldn't help him, okay, and I think it was kind of like a lower back injury a bit, okay, and then I was explaining to him, um, yeah, when you're lifting up heavy stuff, you have to be extremely careful because nobody but yourself is going to care about your body. If something goes wrong, you know how hard it is to literally, try to get some help sometimes, right? It's very difficult. I cannot stress the importance of that. That's why sometimes when bosses ask me to pick up something, really heavy sometimes, I say no, okay? Um, because some of the things were just, so damn heavy. And you try to pick that up. Yeah, you injure yourself. The boss is smart enough that, he won't even attempt it. Okay. Because okay, this person that I was talking to yesterday, okay, he was, he was describing to me what he was trying to pick up. It was a very large window, okay, and the boss was, uh, you know, was even willing to help him out. Okay, so I said to him, what an asshole of a boss. Okay, but he's was it? I think he was 32. Okay, but you still have to be, um you still have to think for yourself and say, this is too big for just myself to try to pick it up. Okay, and I'll injure myself trying to pick this up. Okay, um because too, some of these things, okay, it's literally harder lifting up something like this than with weights, okay, because I know how to do weights. Okay, yeah, you get your legs underneath the weight, you lift it, right, everything's balanced, right. But a vinyl window or a patio door is not like that. The weight is shifting on you. It's not balanced. Okay, and yeah, um, if it shifts out of place a bit, um, it could injure you. It could injure your lower back. Okay, you have to remember, um, our lower backs are fragile. Okay, like, I mean, if you put too much strain on it, yeah, you'll injure it. Okay, even if you're, well, maybe if you're a young, big, strong young person, okay, you'll recover faster from it. But if you're older, yeah, you'll injure yourself, and sometimes maybe that'll be it. Okay, you just won't be able to do the work anymore. Okay, so I know I got off topic here, but I was just trying to, just try to give some other examples uh, of how difficult it is to sometimes deal with multi-billion-dollar companies, or big companies in general. Okay, I just hope you learn something from this, and because I was telling him too that that's why some contractors, they don't even deal with WCB. They're not willing to even pay any a cent to them, okay? Because they just feel that it's too. I met some that said, yeah, they're too difficult to deal with. I don't deal with them, okay? And I don't blame them either, okay? Because, imagine, okay, you pay all this money to them during the year, and then when something happens, they don't help you. So what's the point in paying the money, right? Yeah.